You're probably bad at looping in Dead by Daylight as the killer. Look, I get it, we've all been there and we all have to learn, so in today's boot camp, we're working with a Sadako player who is learning some of the finer details of mind games, like if a survivor's gonna vault a window, their items disappear.
It doesn't help that I will admit, without being carried by what would probably be considered meta perks, I am probably not the best at killer. Which is why I'm trying to practice moving away from.
But I think you are doing a smart thing in realizing that I use these perks and only do well with these perks, and maybe I should figure out why.
Because if I do have brutal strength and enduring, and someone slams God Pallet on me, I can get through it really fast, and then hit them with Stabiffle, and then
right,
everything's fine and dandy, and I've probably caught up to them. But if I can't win a chase without those, I probably shouldn't be winning chase.
I think that's fair. Yeah. So I think this is definitely going to be a different sort of match. Good job on the door. Yeah, this door specifically needs to go. So. Okay. We hear. Good job getting into the chase here. Okay.
No.
Are we?
This is why I think the game, because I don't know why it does. I legitimately don't know why it does this.
Could be your internet, which is something I have had recently happen. So God pallet is any pallet that the killer can't just walk around. So if they throw the pallet in the shack, that's God pallet. The killer can't simply walk around it to get an easy hit, if that makes sense. Yeah, so recently, something worth checking. I'll give you some resources for after the stream to check and see if your internet's giving you problems. It could be DBD servers, but it's more likely the internet issue. So I think this was good. I think that was really smart. To try to fake him out into vaulting that window, I think that was a really good way to do that. Okay. Yeah, it would be hard to demanifest here because he is...
I know.
He can see you, but this is one of those pallets where you may just want to have him drop it. Oh, okay. He tried to fake it a bit. Good job. That was a good hit. I'd be proud of that one. Take that to the bank.
I am a fan of swinging through pallets. Maybe it's the enduring practice.
Yeah, probably.
What? My bad.
Let's see if we get you to the hook here. So, Surge didn't go off, so nobody was working on a gen around you, which is good.
We're here then.
Good job starting chase here. Good hit. Yeah. You got two people with a condemn stack.
See, I don't know if you can see it, but at least for me, the way the bar fills and unfills, I don't know why it does that.
So I've never experienced that. I don't know if anybody in chat can speak to that, but you might need a new mouse, is what that kind of looks like to me. Maybe it's not.
It's frustrating because it is brand new.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys experienced. I don't think I've ever experienced an issue of that nature. But
that's wildly frustrating.
I actually think if you're having internet issues, like rubber banding, it might be that actually. If you're experiencing packet loss, then that could be it. And we can talk about that after stream, actually.
Well, that was a nice one. Yep, well, you teched me on that one.
There you go.
Oh, that's a different gen. That's good to know.
Got a little surge value out of that. Good job paying attention. Oop, oop, oop. There we go. Okay. Well, Pioneer, I'm not entirely sure if that's the case in customs, but also there are different types of lag, and if somebody's experiencing packet loss, that may be different than having a spotty internet connection entirely. Packet loss is a different thing entirely. Well, I don't think she's experiencing packet loss. I think she's having packet lag. If she's experiencing a 40% drop or latency in receiving packets from the server, then she could very well... That's what I had. And we saw that on my stream. I would rubber band. As Survivor, I'd be running, and then I'd warp back over and over. It's because I was getting information from the server late, and the server was resetting me back to where it knew I was. Good job. That was a good down.
Is there any good way to run Shack as an M1 killer?
Oh yeah, there is. The big thing is killer when you're running something like Shack or running really anything with a window is you don't want to give the fast vault. That is always the priority. Is you want to force them into a medium vault because you will gain more distance on them if you can do that. So we can kind of talk about that in a bit. Yeah, I don't think you ran it poorly there at all. Swung a little early. I think that's a good idea. There you go. Sloppy Butcher. Force the reset on the heel there. Smart.
Waste medkit stacks if they've got it.
Yep. Then there should be another stack of Condemn. Not that it's going to do a ton, but maybe. And good job, yeah. I was about to say he went right. Now, I'd be careful breaking off a chase from somebody who's injured to go chase somebody who's healthy. It's something to keep in mind of, like, if somebody's trying to get your attention, they're trying to pull you away from the injured person. Which you were on his trail. He definitely went towards that main building. But we can kind of go back to that, yeah.
Yeah.
This will be a fast vault.
The thing is, I'm fairly confident he read the play for what's it called? So he probably avoided the TV, and that got me a little.
Yeah. Good vault there.
Back on. This is the most generic M1 killer. Well, it's longer than I thought it was.
This is a good chase. Nice. Good down. Called his bluff a little bit. They were caught a little bit out of position.
No, not quite in the pallet.
Yeah, swinging through forward was probably the right call there.
Ooh. The head on. The GG's for that one.
So I think if you, I think if you dropped down, you maybe could have had her there. Was it?
You think I could have eaten blind?
I mean, all you have to do is look up, and you'll avoid that blind. If you can, and it might be difficult. I don't know where you are with it, but if you can look up and maintain your momentum forward, you'll just avoid the blind entirely. Just that works for flashbangs too, just for future reference.
Huh.
Yeah, that way, because yeah, I think you could have. Ooh.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
I was so busy focusing on Nia that I straight up did not. Yeah, I saw that one, Nia.
Oof, that was very close. It was very risky. This is gonna be tough. I think you got about 4 seconds left. Good hit. There you go. Where did they go? Okay.
What if that was
Okay. There she goes. Should be able to. She has a tape.
She does. Aw. That was a good one. I was hoping she'd fall for it.
Yeah, like
The undetectable status, I was hoping she'd fall for it.
Yeah, you kind of phase in and out a little bit.
Leave entirely? I can't tell.
No, yeah. Surprise.
I didn't see her where she went. Get you to leave.
Yeah, good.
Why don't you leave?
Good push out.
Make my life easier.
Jay, can you do me a favor, bud? Could you go find on my YouTube channel the how to mind game killer video?
My guess is she is at the other gate. Should not be surprising.
I would bet. Thank you, bud. I appreciate that. We're going to use that as an example since we have to fly through feedback pretty fast on this one. Nice. Okay, GG's. That was a significantly better one than Haddonfield, and there's obviously there's reasons for that. Haddonfield, its configuration's a whole nightmare, a whole mess. But so I think there was a lot of good. Obviously, internet issues aside, those issues aside, I think there's a lot of good. I think there's a lot of good stuff here. I don't think you're as sort of out of the way as you think you are. I think your tracking is pretty good, pretty solid here. I think that, let's see here, you understand a lot of things that I think subconsciously you started to sort of pick up via just playing, and you're asking really good questions about, like, you know, what's the best way to run Shack. I think a lot of people, they self-defeat and they shut down and they go, well, Shack is just too hard, so I'm going to avoid it. And you took chases there, and I think I want to give you a lot of praise for that, because you didn't avoid the thing that's difficult. That's where people fail continuously. They avoid the thing that's difficult instead of being curious. Shack is something that's difficult for you. Makes a lot of sense. In this particular interaction, I think that you got Shack Palette out of the way quick, and then you guys kind of left it. So there's not a lot to say on that, but we'll give you a resource for looping at Shack. The thing about Shack that you want to kind of focus on is giving the medium vault. So the big thing about survivors is they will continuously loop this way, right? So they will walk in through the door, they will get the fast vault, they will go this way. If you are the killer, you will also vault the window, and then you will chase them, and they will do this 3 times, and this will take 40 seconds. It's frustrating. So the thing you want to do as the killer is, it may not seem immediately helpful, but you want to push them to vault that window, and then you want to somehow loop them the other direction so that this isn't...
go through the window, maybe go around, force them to move the opposite direction.
I think that's one way to do it. So this is called kind of it's sort of like a window juke, or a window sort of fake. But you see the double back, and then you come around the other side and get the hit. You could use that on multiple other tiles. It functions a bit differently on other tiles, but
follows the same principle.
You're really, what you're trying to do as killer is induce the survivor to do a thing, and then break that off, right? So in this case,
okay.
So right here's a really good example, and this is pretty applicable to Shack, is we see the survivor, they vault. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go around. Right, and so this is where you pause. You turn one direction, and you go, all right, I'm going to go around. And that'll force the survivor one way, and then you can kind of catch them off guard a little bit.
Okay.
And so that takes a lot of practice, but you have to think from a survivor perspective as well. And so the survivor perspective is looking for that red stain, right? So, oh, there's the red stain. And then as I try to double back, oh, there's the killer, right? So you're trying to think, and sometimes playing Survivor a little bit might help that. But just
I mostly play Survivor, so I'm trying to branch out.
Good, yeah, that's super smart. So I think that's kind of one of the biggest pieces for Shack, really.
Okay.
The other thing is stuff like moonwalking, right? Which is, people know that it exists, but they don't know how to use it. It's best when you're at like a tall wall where you can't be seen. But this is a really great example. This is what you almost had in that last match, where you could kind of poke your head and then get them to vault like that and then get the down. So there's a lot of kind of moments where you're really trying to get them to do something, and then you catch them off guard. You leave them with very few options. So if you know, kind of what we talked about, if they're not fast vaulting, you're more likely to get some good hits, right? So in this case, right, like the Legion, we're showing the red stain, somebody vaulted, and we get a hit on them because we scared them into vaulting. Oh my gosh, there's nothing else I can do. So, right, so we see the red stain here at the door, we double back, and he's vaulted the window. It's not going to work every time. It's kind of a 50-50. But
yeah, there's a reason you win and lose them.
Right, you win some, you lose some. If you know a survivor's smart, okay, the next time I see him, we're going to switch it up. We're going to do something a little different, right? I can't zoom it in, but there is a flashlight in his hand. So if you see a survivor with an item, pay attention to that. So as he approaches the vault, the minute that the survivor hits the space bar to vault that window, you see their item goes away. It's not in their hand anymore. This is especially helpful later when when a survivor maybe tries to fake you out and make you think that they're gonna vault. This is smart. You walk the outside, but right here. So this would be a good moment. This Felix is poised to vault. This would be a good moment to double back and catch him on the other side of the window.
Okay.
So just and a big part of this is remembering where things are, right? Remembering where windows are. That just takes time. So don't be too hard on yourself. But if you're like, oh, there's a window there, okay, so maybe next time I double back, you know. Just be very easy on yourself, because the only way to learn maps is to play maps, right? So, you know, don't put too much pressure on yourself. But right here, we can see that this Felix is going to vault because there's no flashlight there anymore. So in this case, he's already queued the vault. That's where you take your self around this side and you catch him on the other side of the window, right? So there's little things like this. It takes last minute choices and split decisions. You get easier as you think about them, but just a big thing of like, oh, is there an item? Oh, is there a window coming up? Is he going to fake the window? These little things will help you a lot in just doubling back. It'll keep you from guessing. The idea is you don't want to guess what somebody's going to do. You want to make an educated estimation. Like, okay, there's no item in his hand. There was, so he vaulted. Or, okay, I'm going to use my red stain and try to get him to do a thing. You don't want to guess. You want to either get them to do a thing, induce it, or predict it by seeing the evidence, right? So this last chase, this is something I saw that I think was kind of cool. This kind of shows the other side of it. This Cheryl here, she vaults. And then here, she has a toolbox in her hand, but the toolbox never goes away as she approaches the window. So that means she hasn't hit the vault button yet, which means that you could like call her bluff and go right after her. So, and in this case, you did unknowingly. You called the bluff and you're like, not today. So just something to keep aware of. I think.
Okay.
I think you're on to you're putting in the work. You're thinking very critically. Just my only cautionary tale here: don't put too much pressure on yourself. Don't be so worried about the 4-man escapes or this. As you're learning, really go in with the mindset to learn. If you go in with the mindset to win, I don't think you're going to pick up the little things, right? But if you go in with like, oh, that was a good chase, I could have done this better, you're going to come out of matches. You might not 4K, you might not even get a kill, but you'll come out learning more and you'll excel faster.